questions you have in future which you want professionals to address. So those are the options for you. Uh, Now I'll introduce our panelists today. Uh, we have Chef YB Mathur, then Mr. Dayal Advani. YB Mathur is an experienced executive director and culinary design application group. Mr. Dayal Advani, founder and director of MD Hospitality Solution India. Uh, Mrs. Shadbi Basu, a director, creative consultant, Star Academy of Bartending. And we are still awaiting for Mr. Navneet Nagpal to join. He has requested that he'll join the meeting in another 5 minutes. So soon after he joins, we'll introduce him again. Okay. So I think we shall start with our discussion today. The topic which we have today is what's going to be the impact of the current scenario on consulting business and specifically on the projects which are in pipeline or project people who are willing to start. So I would like all panelists to give their opinions on this scenario today, because we are in an economic slowdown right now and people are reluctant to start their new projects. They have some reservations. So, can all the panelists, I'll request, starting from Dayal sir, to show some light on the existing scenario impact and what exactly we can do to overcome that in future. Dayal sir. So, your mic is on mute. I'll request all panelists, please unmute yourself so we all can hear you. Dayal sir, you are on mute, sir.
Yeah. Very good afternoon, everyone. I thank the HCS team for inviting we all panelists, all professionals. We represent not just our own selves, but we represent all the consultants of the industry to share our views, our thoughts, our experiences with all those who are attending this afternoon's webinar. Those who are project developers or who are already existing owners of hotels and restaurants. This coronavirus has crossed the borders and has spread across the globe, disrupting homes, industries, leisure and entertainment industry, and the hospitality industry at large. We all have seen the growth of the hospitality industry in the last 15 years. And all of a sudden, just in a week's time, we are seeing the worst of the times. Hospitality, not just in India, but all over the globe is facing. It's a very tough situation for each one of us to face. First of all, before we talk further, we have to only pray to God. Let God's mercy help us to come out of this lockdown first, so that there is movement in the industry and we begin to fight, revive, and survive. If we remain the lockdown, then it's getting difficult day by day. What is our strategy for the new upcoming projects? Not just for the front areas, for the back areas of the food and beverage or of the hotels. Globally, the hospitality industry has grown multifold. Hospitality developers, all leaders, architects, interior designers, we professional hospitality consultants have to think very firmly and with positivity. Existing hotels and restaurants should build the strength and act wisely by drawing out an action plan, a feasible action plan with a financial viability again. It's not just me, but any of us or the owners themselves may come up with ideas to implement. But there's a cost implication. Our goal is primarily revival and survival of the existing units which have been in existence for years. So they all have to live up to the standards and showcase the success for the new to follow in the immediate future and in the years to come. So my request is to all existing units to stand up firmly and fight for the revival and survival. All the newcomers who have yet to enter, who have yet to make a start in hospitality, maybe their projects are the design stage on paper, maybe they are halfway, maybe they are just ready and they just want to start tomorrow. I think they should all wait for some time, wait and watch, and let the existing players start performing and see how they succeed or where they fail to perform or what exactly are the needs to meet the compliances which are being laid down by several authorities, by several experts like us speaking on different platforms all over the globe. So we have to wait and watch the success and the fruitful and the satisfying revival of the existing units. Only then we should crystallize, amend, and phase out the concepts of the projects which are still under development in the design stage. The projects which are about to take off tomorrow, you can see what you can amend before you take off. Mind it, we have to assure safety of health for our employees first, because our employees are our wheels. If they are taken care of and if they maintain good health, if they remain safe, they'll be able to deliver standards what we wish to give to our customers. So first assurance is from every existing owner, hotel, or restaurant, even a small kiosk, is to assure employee health safety, comply with all the requirements, create spaces for all requirements so that we are able to implement the amended standard operating procedures. The standard operating procedures of each and every operation have to be reworked individually by property owners, by the brand owners, by the brands, the corporate brands. They have to give guidelines to their various units. I hope I'm clear. Am I sounding clear to everyone, please?
Yes, 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 sir.
Okay. So let us crystallize our thoughts. Let us not go overboard in spending money. Let us not get into a panic situation. The existing owners and those who have yet to enter, don't just start making changes on your drawing boards and start thinking, spending money to increase extra space in the front areas. Don't create extra space for extra guests for social distancing. Mind it, this virus has to go, right? It has to go and it will go. But we have to wait. So unnecessarily, we don't have to waste space. Yes, extra space created in the front areas for baggage receiving will can stay on, but extra space in the restaurants, in fine dining restaurants, in all-day dining cafes, in the bars will be a waste unless and until the larger space is created can be filled in extra furniture and we can have many more customers. But if the business potential is not adequate, then it's going to be a unutilization of spaces wrongly allotted now on paper implemented. Existing units can cut down the furniture or just block the seats and say, yes, instead of 100 seats, I'm going to fill up only 40. So what happens in the front is not that difficult. What is important is the back of the house areas of the food and beverage. Leaving food and beverage, even housekeeping, the staff entries, all those are very important. Coming to food and beverage space allocation, the most important area is the receiving area from where the goods come in, all the food items and the non-food items pertaining to F&B and not necessarily F&B, even other departments. Our spaces for receiving have to be large enough to sort out the goods, to make sure that they are delivered in clean containers, they are transported in clean vehicles, and as and when we receive, we unpack, we are able to sterilize or sanitize whatever we have received, spread them out to the dry stores or to the refrigerated stores ASAP. Most important is the receiving of the vegetables, the meat, seafood, fruits, dairy products, whatever is received, we have to create space. The smaller hotels and the restaurants don't have the spaces, receiving areas. So how they will manage and create space for this is on their drawing boards now. Physically at the site, they have to make space to receive the goods and store them properly. So receiving is not taken care of, that will lead to a big failure because the virus can come in through the goods we receive. More important is when we receive our vegetables and the meat, they should be immediately taken up for processing. We should clean, peel, cut the vegetables, pack them in Ziploc bags, put them into refrigerators or into freezers, and stock them up for a day or two, whatever stocks we are buying. Whatever meat, seafood, chicken is purchased, that also should be cleaned, right? Processed, made into portion bags, and put into freezers or refrigerators. Very important is the mise en place we hold in the kitchens. And you go to the smaller restaurants and the smaller hotels, their kitchens don't have adequate refrigerators and freezers to hold the stocks. So all they do is they take out all the mise en place, they hold it at the table behind the range, on the side of the range, and they dump in things to the frying pan to execute the order. So the food stuff, which is half cooked or fully cooked, is being held at the wrong temperature. So food held at the wrong temperatures, and after the a la carte session is over, again put back in the fridge or the freezer, again is taken out at the dinner time. All that's going to lead to contamination and bacterial growth. This has to be checked and controlled. So it might call for a situation for existing units to give away a work unit, right? And to buy a refrigerated worktop which has drawers below, and in those drawers we can hold all our food stuff. The prepared mise en place in see-through polycarbonate gastronome pans. So this will help us to make sure that we are taking care of contamination and we are not going to cause any problem for the employees who are working with us in the kitchens, who are a source to pass on the contamination to the customer's meal platter that they are preparing and what the waiters will carry to the table and serve to the guests. And we have to also see, like from the range, how we are transporting the plate or the pre-plate, whether it's a pre-plated meal platter or it's a portion of bowl of a curry or an oriental meal, how it goes to the pickup counter. If we can create a dispense window in our present existing setups and even in the future, and we have a pass through window, the chef passes the food through the window to the front area to the guest. So let us see how we can work on the existing spaces. Even the future projects can we planned out an all-day dining cafes and restaurants where they serve breakfast buffets or even they serve meals for lunch and dinner. The all-day dining cafes can be converted into a QSR concept where we stand in a queue, we order, and we pick up our own orders from the counter. We sit at the table, we eat, and we dump the trays at the station, at the dump station. So why not we convert our all-day dining cafes in all the star category hotels, whether they're three-star, four-star, even five-star. So the guests are able to pick up the food plate directly from the chef. So we are eliminating the handling by the service team. So let us see how we can plan our movements, how we can create those spaces in existing units, and the future units. Any plan amendments can be thought of and processed in the times to come. But whatever efforts are put in to plan the back areas on paper will not go a waste now and even in future, because there's always been a constraint. There have been restrictions on the spaces allotted for the back of the house areas, either by the brands or even if it's not a brand managed property, if it's an owner managed property, everybody wants to cut down the space for the kitchen, for the stores, for the receiving, and those areas. So I suggest those areas should be given due consideration and importance. There should be hand wash sinks in every work zone in the kitchen. The Indian kitchen should have hand wash sink. The Chinese kitchen should have a hand wash sink. The Conti kitchen in the pantry. Every zone should have hand wash sink. Now, if those cannot be created now in the existing units, then the sterilizing units, the hand wash solutions dispensers, and the sanitizing dispensers can be on the side of the preparation sinks. Many of the small restaurants we visit will not even have a preparation sink in every preparation area, in every zone. The sink might be 8 feet away. So they leave with a bucket of water and they manage like that. So all these changes have to take place. We have to make space for a mobile preparation sink, which can have a motorized pump. We cannot put now a water supply or a drain point. So we can have sinks, mobile sinks with a drain box below to receive the drain out water. So create spaces which are a priority now for the existing units. So we as consultants have to rise up, right? Do online audits for the existing units if we cannot visit and support our clients for whom we have worked years ago or even short while ago. And we see how we can support them to revive the operations immediately and survive with least contamination possibilities. There should not be even 1% possibility of spreading contamination and infection. So I repeat, receiving important, refrigeration important, spaces to be created for desired sink units and preparation areas, pass through windows from the kitchen to the service, eliminate the pickup counters for the time being and maybe even in future. The future for the future projects, I think all the cafes, all the coffee shops with dining buffets for breakfast and lunch can have just a QSR concept like a McDonald's and KFC. The guest comes in, places order, he waits for the live counter to dispense the order, and we've just minimized, okay, manhandling of the meal that's going to be served to the guest. I think that's enough for the moment. I can speak about the spaces. The
Right.
future for the consultants is a big question mark. We can talk about it. We can form a separate forum and see how we can survive and how we can help others to survive. We have to collaborate. We have to work together. We cannot work individually. We have to work as a team. We have to have a business continuity plan for consultants, for the developers. So we have to redesign and we have to make sure that whatever we plan, okay, can be implemented. And we are going through a current stress test. We are being tested in the stress period. So we have to see how we are going to achieve, right? And anybody needs to contact not just me, but not just the members on the panel here, but any of the experts in your vicinity, in your town, in your city. Please take help, take support of professionals, right? Maybe, some of us are willing to pay, not even charge you now. right? To be of support to the industry because we want the industry to survive at large. It's not for the owners. I'm speaking more now for the employees because they need money. They need money for their food. They need to eat. They need to live. So, for the sake of the poor employees who are our wheels on which the industry depends now and in future, otherwise they'll all back out to serve the hospitality, and we'll have a very difficult time in getting people to work for us in hospitality. All those who have migrated back to their hometowns may not come back. So create space, create an atmosphere, create an environment. Owners create an attitude. Consultants create an attitude, develop an attitude to be of free support to let the industry survive, not just in India but globally. So let us share ideas, exchange ideas. Let us meet often, right, to support each other and the industry at large.
Right.
I thank you and I welcome any questions now or in writing
Sure,
on
sure, sir.
WhatsApp group.
Sure, sir. So I think, sir, you have almost covered all the aspects of design aspect and what and how all the community should work together. Now I'll go to Chef Mathur and ask his views on how it is going to impact on the industry and the consulting field for that matter, and the projects are in pipeline. Chef Mathur, sir, you are on mute. Sir, you have to unmute yourself. Chef, you have to unmute yourself.
Can you see me, hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Perfectly, sir.
Now it's okay?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And answer to your question, a different kind of consumerism has set in and would continue to hold uh, in forever evolving terms. The focus within the food and beverage ecosystem will move from products, the matters, it will move to matters of HACCP, food hygiene, food safety, environment sustainability, maybe nutrition also, and they would all take center stage. The regulatory regime has already changed. It would keep changing in the line with fresh discoveries and better systems. Customer awareness of all matters related to food and beverage would be as good as the food and beverage operators. So awareness for the customers has increased. That's what I mean. Sanitizing technologies and thermal screening of customers, professionals, as well as prepared food is already the normal. The new normal will be very stringent, measurable results, and record keeping. Going further, and in addition to what Mr. Advani has very rightly said, there is a very strong need to reimagine the menu. Reimagine could be done through various means. First of all, is resizing. It is imperative to resize the menu. Items which are, I should say, a large number of menu items and multiple culinary offers from the same outlet are definitely passe, at least for a few more months. The guideline would be to remove culinary preparations, which are difficult to maintain in terms of temperature requisites and complexity of garnishes. The customer would not be looking at the extent of many choices. He would be looking at the safety of what he is going to consume. Second part of reimagining of the menu would be to remove the mainstream of larger safety and food hygiene. These items must be provided better the food safety of the finally food. Next point is to remove all cold salads and cold desserts completely. Management. We must remove current which require highly ingredients. It would manage the food. Example, searching beans, spinach, and lettuce, etc. Introduce high number is it is to introduce a higher number of gravy and sauce-based menu items comparatively feed. Cold mayonnaise-based dressings must be kept for a few more months. Garlic vinegar dressings are fine. In terms of uh, area allocation, facility planning, etc., would personally recommend to remove the meat fabrication area in areas or from where the food product preparation is nearby and take it to a remote place. In addition, what is happening in the world over that frozen food is becoming the key norm. Frozen food is the fresh today, fresh thing. Entrepreneurs, chefs, consultants must insist more on ready to cook frozen meats and ensure their proper thawing and usage procedures. In terms of facility planning, another very important part is that the workflow has to be reimagined, repurposed, and in such a way that there is the what mandatory distancing is enabled. In the next part, I would like to focus is on what you call regular and mandatory hygiene. The ideal conditions would be to institute a sanitation team answerable for food safety, food hygiene, and sanitation issues. In terms of sanitizer applications, besides the training on personal hygiene and industry-wide best practices, the consultants must ensure sanitizing procedures are built into operations through checklists and report back procedures and for perpetuity, not only now but forever. As far as the sanitizer processes are concerned, I have learned to be with the best. Having worked in ITC and later also, I find that sanitization is best with a company called Diversity. I continue to use their products for a variety of for a diverse clientele, including hospitality management institutions and food and beverage outlets, etc. They have, you see, the today is the directions about touch points. Touch, they have sanitizers for touch points too. They have for cross contamination. They have for fogging, etc. So it's always better to have a sanitized sanitization system. What is very important is for us as consultants to help the business and the entrepreneur to regain customer trust. Customer loss. Consultants must stand at the side of the entrepreneur to support the business they are consulting with to regain and develop the customer's trust in the business. And the fresh culinary offer, verbal as well as non-verbal communication to the customer is imperative to reinstall the trust that the customers have lost in any outlet's personal sanitary conditions, food safety, and food hygiene standards. A washroom is considered a mirror to the outlet's food hygiene. That goes a famous quote in hotel business. The attached washrooms must be strictly monitored to ensure the highest possible standard of hygiene and maintenance with disposable paper towel, faucet hygiene, electronic control, liquid soap dispensers, etc. The consultant must support the repositioning of the business as a caring business. My recommendations are exhibiting two infographics entitled We Care proudly on the outlet doorstep. One infographic would cover the requisites and actualization of mandates within the food production areas. The second infographic would cover the requisites and actualization of mandates of washroom hygiene and more. Customers must feel happy and safe to patronize and repatronize the outlet. The way to build the customer base. Rebuilding trust is imperative to the food business. I also recommend creating a And the particular question that what there is a lot of focus now on takeaways. So on boxes, food that if is micro retail or reheating of food is sold as a takeaway. In the instruction for reheating of food must include reheating, infrared on a gas-fired range or induction cooking equipment. Why this is more important is because the people who are taking mostly are they are probably not conversant about the need for food to be taken through a range of temperature to make it safe. If there is if the food remains in the what is called temperature danger zone, then it's the worst thing to do. I mean, you can't have cold food, hot food which is called cold, etc. Basically, a conscious, conviction, disciplined approach by the consultants is important to help ring fence their client and the business they are consulting with. There are so many commandments that one could make. The first one is to definitely ring fence the customer, and the second one is to educate himself to ensure a cut above for self-education, self-skilling, and remain concurrent with the avalanche of information from global sources. Consultants must extract and so this in the box thinking.
Sir, we lost you, I think.
Can you see me now?
Yes, yes, yes. Perfectly, sir.
You want me to repeat the last part?
Yeah, last sentence we couldn't hear.
What I was trying to emphasize is that conscious approach, disciplined approach by the consultant is very important. He must keep in touch with to remain in a higher mode of consultancy environment to ensure a cut above. Consultants must forever be in a mode of self actualization, self education, self skilling, and remain concurrent with the avalanche of information from global sources. Consultants must extract what suits current as well as emerging conditions. Emerging conditions is very important. Emerging conditions of hospitality and food-led business in India. Creative and out-of-the-box thinking and aligning with emerging global protocols must be the first baby step. Our subject today is baby steps toward reopening. That's why I say. An important thing is that consultant must not allow the business or the entrepreneur or the owner to start his business almost immediately after the government allows the same. The reason is simple. The protocols that are being designed by the government agency, by international hospitality organizations, and hygiene organizations, they will take time for to maintain. Meanwhile, the 10-day period, what the consultant must do is to help the entrepreneur or the business to establish the cash flow lines, the supply chain management, training of staff, and make them understand in their language what has to be done, make checklists, make duty rosters, make timelines, and what have you. So idea is that it will give a time for the consultant to resize the menu, redesign the menu, ensure hygiene practices come in, ensure everybody's duty roster duties are well defined, and will also give a opportunity for a gradual step up back into the operation. So these are the points the importance of customer trace, exhibiting that we care, developing a welcome back video for regular pattern, infographics, verbal and non-verbal communication cannot be over emphasized. They are very, very important. So that's what I was saying. So I await your next question, please.
Okay. So as you rightly said, sir, customer behavior is going to change in coming time, and people are going to expect some changes happening on the menu. So menu engineering will be an important factor here in
Yes.
coming time, and a lot of people are going to expect a lot of immunity building items on the menu, or there are some different expectations. So my next question is to Shadbi ma'am. Ma'am, do you think are there going to be any consumer behavioral changes happening on the beverage side of the menu? And if yes, then what are we expecting, or what customers will be expecting in coming time?
Um, well, bars are in a completely unique position of kind of needing to conform to social distancing, yet being in an industry of the exact opposite. I mean, people usually go to bars for the sake of socializing. And it's, I think, going to be an absolutely new learning, both for the consumer as well as for people who work in our industry. How we can actually maintain both and yet keep people safe. So it's a very challenging position to be in as far as bars are concerned, because the people who come to bars and the reason why they come to bars is pretty much different from why they go to a restaurant. Um, so it's something that we're going to have to build on both sides, and we're going to have to wait and watch to see how the customer actually is going to behave in this post COVID situation when we kind of try and open up slowly. I think, for my part, I think the onus will be more on the bars to maintain and to understand how we can keep social distancing. And I think at the same time, I think it's a great opportunity for us to inculcate a sense of hygiene, both personal as well as in the workplace, both behind the bar as well as in front, and to look at this as an also as an opportunity to teach people to multitask a little bit. Um, I honestly also thought, as Mr. Advani said, that using the QSR concept in bars can also work pretty well, because it partly already exists that people do go up to the bar counter to pick up their drinks. That's a reasonably safe distance between, say, the bartenders and the customers, because we have this bar counter in front. However, I don't truly want to eliminate the servers completely, because that would mean a massive loss of jobs, and that would mean people not being able to feed themselves, feed their families, people who haven't gone back home to where they come from, and those who are here will need a source of income. And if we eliminate the server in our quest to keep our customers safe, I think it would be doing them huge disservice. So I think the idea here would be to train them, to inculcate a sense of safety and hygiene and sanitation, and prepare them on how to handle everything cleanly and safely. Understand make them understand the value of distancing and how they can maintain it while giving service. At the same time, teach them new skills. I think it's another opportunity for learning, for being able to give them a chance to learn newer skills. And therefore, I repeat this word multitasking, teach them multitasking, so that they can both be at the bar, behind the bar, as well as outside, maybe help in the receiving area, maybe help in the back areas. I think this is the way we'll be able to make sure that we both inculcate a sense of self in them, at the same time, not eliminate them from the workforce completely. The other thing I think about is, if we're looking at new projects, what I would really insist on with with our bar owners is to create the bar store and the bar receiving closer to the bar. What usually tends to happen is, um, they try and give us the least possible space, which is enough just to barely make a bar. The world over, you'll find that there is always a back area of the bar where we are able to keep the stuff that we use inside our bar, therefore decluttering what's inside the bar. Having a receiving and store area right behind the bar would be something that would serve multiple purposes. A, the ability to keep hygiene, sanitation, and safety measures in place, because the onus for all of that would be on the bar team itself. And therefore, while you inculcate that sense in them, they will be able to maintain that in the bar store as well. Also, it eliminates needless contact with a lot of people while on your way to pick up and drop. That in itself will carry forward to how they work within the bar space, and how they can work with safety measures in place for customers as well. So all in all, I think this is something we need to inculcate both at both levels, for existing bars as well as for newer ones, where we work with the bar professionals, teach them to multitask. We work with consumers, because I think trying to get them to understand social distancing in bars is probably, for me, going to be the most difficult part. Um, in that way, I'm optimistic for the bar industry. I'm optimistic that people will want to come out and will want to come out to bars, and because they have felt isolated for way too long. And we are, as humans, we are social beings, and we will want to go out. Yes, it will be slow in the beginning, but I don't see it not happening. I feel positive that people will want to go out. It's up to us to ensure that we keep them safe. We Yes, we will have a problem when it comes to filling up the bars, because that's essentially what a bar is all about. We are going to have to take a cut out there, and I understand, and I foresee that there are some bars that who are not going to make it, and that's going to be a really sad, uh, situation to be in. However, I think that if they do things more creatively, because we know that we are never going to have, um, you know, the government ever opening up to talk about takeaways when it comes to bars. That's never going to happen. And therefore, we have to learn to live with what we have as a post COVID scenario, because I'm guessing it will last. It will take us at least 6 months to a year to kind of climb out of this whole situation that we've found ourselves in. It's something that people have never imagined, both from the consumer's perspective as well as from the owner's perspective, and from bar professionals who I know at this moment in time are extremely worried about their jobs, about their existence. And I think we need to kind of find a way of ensuring that we keep up their spirits, and find creative ways in which to make sure that bars function and do not shut down. I'm hoping that real estate and people who own real estate will understand it as well, and will give some relief to all the people who have leased out spaces from them. I know it's a tall order, but I think survival is something that every industry has to do. It the onus is on everyone to collaborate and come together. And I think this is the best time to do it. Um, I think this is the way in which we can kind of show the world that we are all in it together. And for us to survive, everyone has to survive in the same way. If so many restaurants and bars shut down, what will the landlords do? Who will they sell it to, and where will they get their money from? Better to get a little money than to get zero money. It's a concept that's very difficult for them to understand. I know, but I'm hoping that sense will prevail. And if we all work together, I think the industry can survive. And I think we'll come back bigger, better, and stronger. That's the way I'm seeing it, and I think it's possible to do it. I'm hugely optimistic. I'm hugely optimistic of this challenge that we are facing, because if we look at it as an opportunity, I think we can do a lot more.
Right. As ma'am have perfectly stated, that multitasking and all the strategies which you have suggested will definitely help us to make some concrete decision making in coming times. But as we are ending towards the end of the seminar, because we have already short on time, so I would like to ask Chef Mathur the last question, to keep it a little brief, to give us a little bit of idea about uh, how exactly is going to be a culinary economics which is going to change. As you are the expert on the topic, I would like to give you you give a brief idea about how the economics is going to change in culinary as prospects.
Okay. As you rightly said, the time is limited, so I'll try to be very, very bullet pointed like. Impact on culinary economy. The pandemic has created situation where, uh, can you hear me?
Yes, 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 sir.
Okay, it has created a very unique situation. Um, the culinary economics is a subject which is closest to my heart and has been so for the entirety of my 55 decades plus career. Consultants must plead with the entrepreneurs that they are consulting with to think of new avenues of business plan in terms of the spread over of time of the restaurant, not limited the lunch to specific times like 11:30 and 3, and think of new ideas. For example, each food and beverage business has done well already, which has done well already, would be very hesitant to reduce the menu items, but that's what is required, and that's what I have just explained. Food and beverage business is a very important part which I am taking up now, and which is very, very influential on the cost factor. Each food and beverage business, whether it is part of a hotel or a standalone outlet or a chain of restaurant, has two areas. There are the functional areas and the operational areas. The functional areas are represented by purchase and supplier management, receiving, stores, issuing, and the operational area, the meat fabrication, commissary, food production, and food service areas. In smaller size outlets, the two areas may not be delineated clearly. Consultants must make efforts to do so going forward. This is more so at each link of the supply chain, supply line, external to the business and internal to the functional and operation area, would be mandated to fall in line with fresh hygiene and sanitation protocol guidelines and record keeping as well as report back. Now, why is this important? Because correct supplies as per standard purchase specification and the right standard yield management would reveal a better proposition for the cooking areas, the production, food production areas, and the commissary areas. Consultants must support the business in which they are consulting to create fresh revenue generation opportunities. Consultants may utilize the technical skills and knowledge of the culinary profession existing in the business. And in continuation, he may like to develop a meal kit business, which is going to be a big part of the future food and beverage concepts. I have been a very strong votary of capacity utilization and acceleration. Today, However, I am advocating efforts to not fill up the restaurants and ensures towards social distancing of customers also. One table for the customer and one table kept reserved series would be the answer for social distancing within the outlet. Normally, 10 square feet of space is required for each cover. I recommend a minimum of 25 square feet per customer. So, for a 500 square feet seating capacity, number of customers of one time should not exceed 20. So that means we are asking for more spread over of the lunch timing. Also, consultants must install fresh benchmarks, fresh protocols, and best practices. I can never overemphasize this requisite. The zero deficit, the zero defect, zero variable, and zero tolerance led performance controls to the menu. In terms of the quality, quantity, and delivery controls, as well as service guarantees, must change. And because these will change, marketing promises would take lead from these changes to assure the customer and towards building his trust in the business. Such initiatives would also create the parameters of higher objectivity, compliances, and consistent value to the customer. And because the trust is building up more people will come back. They will be repatterned. So these are the important steps which I can talk about immediately. So I've talked about controls, I've talked about back of the houses, I've talked about the change of protocols and marketing promises and service guarantees. Now I will also emphasize that analytics is very important both for the food production and generic analytics, understanding what the customers are liking and what they are not liking, and to ensure further menu development, analytics would also help. So a combination of controls, three type of control, quality, quantity, and delivery, service guarantees, back of the house service, quality checkup, the right meal management system, all things are very important. And carefully managed um, with a conscious and conscientious approach would definitely increase economics of the business, reduce wastage, reduce spoilage. There are very efficient ways to define how many covers of a la carte business are likely to be sold. Because buffets are going to be a problem going forward for at least for some time, a la carte would reign in. And because a la carte can be measured in what sort of production planning has to happen, uh, calorie economics can be kicked in. So this is what I can talk now. If you have more time, I can go on this. This is my favorite subject.
Yes, but I think we have limited time. Now I think it's a time to conclude. So I would like Mr. Dayal Advani to conclude this discussion with a small bullet point messages for all the consultants. So what exactly should be their plan of action? So Advani sir, would you be like to address all consultants? What's your message? What's the final message we should have? Like a take home. So you should be on mute. You're on.
My first message to the consultants in India is to form a common forum for us to at least meet as consultants separately, think alike, standardize our thoughts, and not to confuse the property owners who are operating and the ones who have yet to launch their projects. Everyone has different thoughts, different brands have different requirements. So we don't have to lay down standards and norms and make people spend extra money in the times, in the difficult times now and the times to come. Cost savings should be on the top of our minds. We as consultants, as freelancers, may not have work for the new projects. So we have to sharpen our minds for intellectual guidance. All consultants are not into operations management. Quite a few are just into project planning and support the project till the completion stage. I have been involved in setting up the hotels and commissioning the operations of the properties. But those consultants who have not been into the operations, my advice to them is to now sharpen their minds and to see what different services they can offer besides what they have been doing. This could be a business development strategy for the existing property owners. They have to develop digital skills. And we have seen that digital transformation has already taken place globally pre-pandemic. Pandemic is not demanding digital transformation. It's already happened years ago, but we have to see where we can apply into our systems. We have to learn to save on the resources. So whatever resources, all our resources are men, material, machines, methods. All this combined together is what is giving us a product with all the inputs. The quantity of product output should be valued and related to the inputs. So productivity levels should be very high with the least inputs. So we have to develop leadership skills in the managers who are operating properties. Our expertise of years, we should now become a coach to the managers and we should facilitate them to work differently with different SOPs and support them to develop better leadership skills differently. We have to embrace technology in a great way. We have to learn technology tools and we have to guide the managers to be present in their premises, may not be physically but online, and to be very sharp in their skills to prepare ourselves and the future of the industry. Okay, we have to prepare ourselves with for a different future. Cost restructuring abilities have to be developed into each one of the employees, managers, and the supervisors. So why not we consultants take a turn, right? Keep aside the services that we've been offering, and we restructure the services and give our best expertise to the industry. And we can do it digitally, we can do it online. So let us secure the jobs of people who are employed and now their careers are at stake. As Shadhi mentioned that yes, we might call for the servers to go out of the team. No. So she said yes, the servers can be trained behind the bar, they can be trained in the kitchen, they can be trained in the receiving areas and various areas. Now that depends on the manager of the unit, how he utilizes his extra staff. Call the staff on alternate days. Don't retrench your staff. So let us do counseling for the owners, for the managers. Do not retrench the staff. Call the staff 3 days in a week. Why do all restaurants in Lower Parel open up on all days of the week? Decide that these restaurants will open on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, finish their Visa Plus, and the other restaurants will open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and some on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we open in terms. Let us think differently. Let us think of various ideas and let us put it to the industry who's operating outlets in various different formats in the industry. Either they are QSRs, fine dine restaurants, or mid segment restaurants, or even cloud kitchens. If all the cloud kitchens are going to operate, believe me, I mean, they are not going to do well. So let's work 3 days in a week and let's give a chance to everyone to survive. Let's not allow anyone to close down. So let us put our thoughts together and see how we can also help the employers to track the productivity of the unit. Every employer, every owner has to track the productivity of the unit. So we have to understand what is productivity. We can have sessions separately, we can have webinars separately on measuring productivity of a restaurant, of a hotel. So all industry leaders, it's not just me alone. All of us have to be on a common platform. We have to think alike. We have to debate and we have to give our best for the survival, for the revival of the industry. I repeat these two words. It's revival and survival. We will revive. We'll come on the platform. We'll start working. But Can we absorb the cost with lower sales, increased cost to operate with extra supplies to be put into use? Now, how long will this take for us? Is a big question mark. So, unless and until we make a start, as soon as the lockdown is over and we are allowed to open up the outlets, we cannot answer the question how long we start to really come on the track to go running, right? We have to build confidence in our customers to see that they are assured of their health safety. Consultants should also improve the coordination between the government and the businesses. Okay, this is for the good of the citizens. We should also help people as consultants to find jobs, those who have lost jobs. We can help people to be trained to a better level and to have a lifestyle not of luxury, but at least to eat and live, right? So we have to help everyone to eat and live. We have to get back to the basics and learn what is forgotten. We have got too much into the modern trends. Let us take up the basics and work with the basics. There's too much to talk on this topic. It's endless. But we all have to stand together. We have to bring a revolution for revival and survival. We have to prepare ourselves for the worst situation. What if the pandemic continues for a longer period? What if the lockdown continues for a longer period? How are we going to survive? Mind it. Okay, we are like a train that's in a long tunnel with darkness, which is not lit. We are going to come out of it very soon, right? All efforts, okay, are just to come back on the platform to start. But mind it, God has put us into a situation, bring a rectification to all our systems, clean up everything, our back areas, front areas, businesses, homes, our commitments to our family members, our commitment to our employees, our commitment assurance of health safety. So let us get our properties infested. Let us face the dire consequences. Whatever comes, we have to face. We have to wait till we can start and know what are our real expenses, right? And we have to see whether we can survive even with some operating losses for a short time, but no retrenchment. So let us counsel each and every person, right? No retrenchment. Work in shifts, work alternate days, and let everyone survive. That's it. We have to stand in strength and embrace each other, collaborate with each other. I repeat these words. We have to
Thank you.
share our skills with each other. What you cannot do, I will do it for you. What I cannot do, you do it for me. And that's how me and Shadni we've been working together. So let us see what we can do for each other. And we see
Right.
that even consultants are able to survive. If any consultant is held up with a thought, what he should do, give me your strengths. Maybe I can suggest you. So we are open to support each other.
Right.
I thank HCS members. It's
Thank
been
you.
a great session. All the panelists and the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chirbai. Thank you, Mr. Upendra. Thank you,
Thank
Priyanka.
you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Well, it was a nice discussion, and I would like to point out certain things which you said, sir, as the right strategy, which is survive, revive, and survive. And another thing which you said that yes, we are going to come out of the tunnel soon. Uh,
Yes.
with this, with this, I would like to give a closure to our discussion now, and I would like to thank Koala Hospitalist, HMS, and Skadoosh Media for their support in getting this seminar sessions going. And thank you all the panelists. We'll definitely have certain new promotions, new ideas, and new collaborations and new synergy come in coming up times. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Shah. Ma'am. Thank you,